Hello, everybody. This class on posthumanism is about moral enhancement in contemporary literature. For this, I've chosen two novels and a short story. The first novel is Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower. The second novel is Richard Powers' Generosity and Enhancement. And the third short story is by Pamela Sargent called Gather Blue Roses. Basically, what I'll be doing in the course of this class is to talk about moral enhancement vis-a-vis these texts, of course, and locate how enhancement can be three facets to enhancement, let's say. So enhancement can either be good or bad. So what are the takes of these novelists about moral enhancement, and how can moral enhancement be used to make the world a better place, for instance? So what is moral enhancement? Improvement of the human or the condition of being human through biomedical advancement. So this can include using medicines, genetically improving the human condition. This can attribute to, let's say, using biomedical advancements to, for example, to give longevity to the human body, to get rid of cancer, for instance, to get rid of diseases, to make the human body more capable of surviving and living longer than it is naturally supposed to, right? So, in the first novel that I've chosen, Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower, the narrator is Lauren Olamina. She's also protagonist slash narrator Lauren. Experiences a condition called hyperempathy or sharing, in which she experiences the pain and pleasure of those around her. So, for instance, if somebody gets hurt, she experiences the same pain that this other person is going through, and she finds it very difficult to live in a community where there is which is riddled by diseases, pain, and poverty. So she does not, in fact, experience any pleasure, and all she gets to experience is the pain of those around her. So in the slide 2, I have provided an extract from Butler's Parable of the Sower. I'll just read it out. I feel what I see others feeling, or what I believe they feel. Hyperempathy is what the doctors call an organic delusion syndrome. Big shit, it hurts. That's all I know. So we're talking about a disease. She calls it a disease. She in fact inherited it from her mother, who used to use a drug, and it affected her child. When she was pregnant, she used this drug, and it affected Lauren adversely, let's say, for the time being. So, biomedically induced embodied advancement in human values, qualities, and virtues, most notably to feel literally the pain of others, is what Pramod Vinayar, who reads Hyperempathy in Parable of the Sower, defines it as. So, what is Butler suggesting through the use of a disease, such as one that is very intimate, as hyperempathy or sharing? Is Butler then suggesting the foundation for a new humane intersubjectivity, in the sense that, for instance, if everybody else feels the pain of those around them, there won't be as much torture or violence, right? So it is very important to think about in the present scenario as well. We're living in the age of wars and a lot of intended violence. A pattern of life that subsists on understanding and responding to the pain and pleasure of those around. So, in a close-knit community such as the one that Lauren is living in, she, if For instance, everybody had hyperempathy or sharing, there won't be any violence or torture, and everybody the world would have been a much better place. So this has been also suggested by a lot of people as a way forward to counter violence and dystopias. So in this next slide, I'll read out another extract from the same novel, where Lauren calls it a biological conscience, calls her condition a biological conscience. If hyperempathy syndrome were a more common complaint, people couldn't do such things. They could kill if they had to, and bear the pain of it or be destroyed by it. But if everyone could feel everyone else's pain, who would torture? Who would cause anyone unnecessary pain? I've never thought of my problem as something that might do some good for. The way things are, I think it would help. I wish I could give it to people. Failing that, I wish I could find other people who have it and live amongst them. A biological conscience is better than no conscience at all. So, in fact, she does find a group of people, some of them who have hyperempathy, and she starts building a community around it. So, biological conscience is what we're looking at here. So, then, what does it mean to live in a world where everybody has biological conscience, everybody has hyperempathy? In such a world, there will not be, as we just mentioned, any violence or terror. But we have to keep in mind that hyperempathy can also be used to torture people, right? If you're, I don't know if I can say captor, but yeah, if somebody wants to do bad by you, knows that you have empathy, and you will get trapped in a world where it will be used against you. So it has different sides of the same coin, let's say. So a community of sharers is what Butler is intending here, where human quality and virtues can be improved easily. Enhancements. So here we're talking about a condition or a disease which is intended, which creates a vulnerable group of people, but also which can be used in the larger context to create a morally advanced group of people who are aware of what they do to each other. This is what Person and Sevelis group call becoming more human in the moral sense. If human civilization is to avoid destruction or deterioration, human beings need to become more human in the moral sense. Such morally enhanced humans may be called transhumans or posthumans. So moral enhancement, once again, this is James Hughes, who says moral enhancement can be used to conquer oppression, inequality, and violence. So let's go to the next text, which is Pamela Sargent's Gather Blue Roses. Here there is something called communicated pain. The context of the story is simple. It's about a daughter and a mother in their relationship when the mother has lived in a Nazi camp, and what she went through having this condition where she communicated the pain of those around her. I knew that she understood and felt her fear and her sorrow as she realized that she and I were the same. That I would always feel the knife thrusts of other people's pain, draw the agonies into myself, and perhaps be shattered by them. So here, unlike hyperempathy in the first novel, there is only pain that is experienced, no experience of pleasure, none at all, just pain. I need the peace, retreat from easily communicated pain. How strange, I think objectively, that our lives are such that discomfort, pain, sadness, and hatred are so easily conveyed and so frequently felt. Love and contentment are only soft wheels which not protect me from bludgeons. And the strongest loves, one can still sense the more violent undercurrents of fear, hate, and jealousy. So here, what we are talking about is a controlled environment of pain and agony, and how this person feels it. Nevertheless, feels it more frequently than those around her, and responds to it in very violent ways. So similar to the moral enhancement that we talked about in Octavia E. Butler, is Pamela Sargent's Gather Blue Roses, where the protagonist slash narrator feels the pain of those around them. And she used to resent her mother in the beginning, and then she realizes what her mother went through, having lived in a camp alongside in a very desolate world of pain and agony and anguish, and what she went through. She understands this. This understanding forms a sort of connectivity, right? We are connected through this shared understanding, this shared torment. And maybe what Sargent is also suggesting here is that if everybody had communicated pain, then there won't be torture or violence, and maybe it might have been easier to survive anguish and pain, right? So in the next novel, we have Richard Powers' Generosity, subtitled An Enhancement. Generosity is about a girl called Cassidets who is an Algerian war refugee in the United States, and her condition, her disease is that she is especially happy. She has a condition called hyperthymia, where she is always happy. So then, that's the problem. She is constitutionally incapable of doing anything but all right, the narrator says. And the story revolves around her being discovered by a genetic engineer who sort of want to use her, use her cells, like we're talking about Henrietta Lacks and HeLa cells. So similar to such a story as here, and the story here where Cassidet's genes, this genetic engineer wants to use Cassidet's genes to create a world where there won't be any regret or pain or loss or anguish, and where people are always happy. What happens is, in the course of the novel, Cassidy decides to sell her cells, sell her genes, and then she receives a lot of backlash from society around her, and finally she commits suicide. So I'll read another extract from the same story. Have you ever come across someone with an oversized appetite for life? Someone who seems to feel nothing but major peace, exceedingly joyous, impervious to stress, constant mania without depression, ecstasy without the cycle of despair. These people, they're very rare and possess a trait called hyperthymia. So what we have here is a singular trait, like I just mentioned, which we can put alongside hyperempathy, hyperthymia, and but unlike Butler, who seems to be endorsing a world of interconnected subjectivity and biological conscience, Powers seems to be saying that seems to be looking at the disadvantages of moral enhancement. He seems to be rather looking at the philosophical aspects of moral enhancement per se. He seems to be saying that moral enhancement is, no matter what the level, degree of enhancement is, human is bound to be constrained by society, bound to be affected by society in such a way that enhancement will no longer matter. So that is the conclusion of generosity, which suggests the perils of being too happy. So that is what Powers does. Powers adopts a critical stance towards using biotechnology to alter genes and thereby attain happiness. He doesn't seem to endorse a world of biological conscience or a world where morally enhanced virtues can be good or can be used to ameliorate the condition of being human. So in this context, well, not exactly in this context, but definitely in the context of moral enhancement, we can also talk about Octavia Butler's another of her novels called Survive, which I'm in fact writing a paper right now on. I'm working on right now is how moral enhancement works in Butler's Survivor. So in this novel, there are different polarizing groups of people, groups of species, in fact, and they sort of work against each other. But the protagonist, who's named Lana, she decides to interfere in this tussle, and she brings about a cure for xenophobia. She tries to engage within these different species of people, and she, in fact, all of these groups have very stigmatized ideas about each other. She tries to bring in a cure for xenophobia through the interactions, relationships with different with each of the members of this group. So that is something that Butler also does. So Butler is suggesting a very positive attitude towards moral enhancement. Powers does the opposite. He adopts critical stance, and we also have Pamela Sargent in between, who seems to be talking about moral enhancement and communicative pain, and how then communicative pain can be used to initiate communication between two different parties of people, right? Two different parties. So that's about it. Talked about biological conscience, the creation of a morally conscious human who is aware of the consequences of one's actions. Then can the human be then rendered or made into a being with more enhanced values? These are the questions that follows moral enhancement. Is the said enhancement ethical? So what are the ethical paradigms of thinking about enhancing a human and biomedically inducing a human with happiness genes, for example? It's just to point it up, to summarize, we talked about two novels and one short story, and how biological conscience in Butler and communicative pain in Sargent and hypothymia in Powers are seen as the beginning of the creation of a morally conscious human who is aware of his actions. So yes, that's it. Thank you.